If you want to take the suspension on your 2018 or newer JL Wrangler seriously, this RockJock Antirock front sway bar kit with forged arms should be on your short list of mods to consider. Now this is a solid option for the JL owner who is avidly off-road and taking tougher trails and wants a sway bar that will, one, hold up to the tougher abuse that it gets, and two, offer a bumping capability for technical off-road situations. Now this is a durable off-road ready system, is an intuitive way to keep the sway bar connected to increase wheel traction on the dirt and fully eliminate the need to disconnect your links to gain full articulation. Now the sway bar does cause a little bit more body roll compared to the standard setup, so just keep that in mind, which is why this is geared more towards the more dedicated trail rig rather than the daily driver. So again, keep that in the back of your mind when you're checking this out. Now this sway bar is much different than your average system where you would disconnect your end links to get some better wheel movement off-road, then reconnect them when you're driving on the street. Now this keeps everything connected, and with the Antirock design, it allows the tires to move more independently and it distributes the weight more evenly, which results in better ground contact where you need it most while not sacrificing the wheel articulation that you would get when they're disconnected. Now the sway bar end links are also fully adjustable to dial in the angles and customize to your specific setup. Now this is a pretty serious setup compared to the average sway bar. This is a heat-treated 4130 chromoly steel sway bar with a large 0.77 inch diameter and forged chromoly offset sway bar arms. Now compared to most sway bars, this is, again, very durable as far as choices are concerned, which promotes the correct movement while resisting any bending or braking even in the toughest off-road scenarios. Now they also include a semi-gloss powder coat finish for rust resistance over time. Now the kit also includes tough Durlin sway bar bushings, strong durable plastic which can handle significant loads and abuse, and they have low friction for free movement, great for suspension components just like this. Now this kit is about $700, which is very on brand as far as price is concerned for a kit like this. Now this Antirock system is a very unique system. It integrates some very cool tech to make a huge difference off-road as well as on tougher trails. Now most sway bar end links don't include this kind of construction as far as the design is, the beefiness, or the entire system is concerned. Now there are pricey aluminum versions for this system as well, but if you're just looking for the standard Antirock kit for your rig and don't want to get too complicated, this is a solid option for you. Now this is a direct bolt-on replacement, but is more difficult than the standard swap. So it gets a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and should take about 2 hours or so to fully complete. Now at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers here. They're gonna show you a step-by-step breakdown on how you can swap out your old sway bar for this new Antirock system. So that is going to wrap it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get to the install.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, 14, 18, and 19 millimeter wrenches, 3/4 inch wrench, 3/16 Allen wrench, an extension, 15 millimeter socket, 14, 15, 18, and 19 millimeter swivel sockets. What's up guys? Today we're installing a sway bar on our Wrangler, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is disconnect our sway bar end links. We're going to do this from the bottom side on the axle because we have new end links in our kit. So grab an 18 millimeter socket and wrench to remove this bolt. I'm using a swivel socket just to make it a little easier. Now on the passenger side we have this flag nut, so we just need an 18 millimeter swivel socket to remove our bolt. So you pull that flag nut out and remove your bolt. Next, we're going to take a 15 millimeter swivel socket to remove the 2 bolts on each of our mounts. I've got a buddy on the other side. I'm going to get my 2 bolts out, pass the impact gun over to him so he can get his side out, and we'll lower it down. Get a hand on your sway bar before you remove the second bolt. So now we're just gonna get all of our stuff set up on the table before we go installing anything. I'm gonna start with our end links here. Now we've got two different types of jam nuts. We've got a gold and a silver. The silver is gonna be on the bottom, and the one different end link is gonna get the silver. So we're gonna thread all these nuts on, and then we'll just thread on our end links a little bit. We're not gonna tighten anything down now. We'll do that once we get it onto the Jeep. So now we're gonna get our end links assembled first. Now we have gold nuts and silver nuts. The silver nuts are gonna be a standard thread. The gold nuts are gonna be a reverse thread. So get those matched up to the correct sides. And then thread your gold ones on, twisting to the left. We're just gonna thread those down. Your silver ones, thread to the right. And then you can thread on those end links. Two of these are also going to be reverse thread, and then one's going to be a standard thread. Then we're just going to get them threaded on for now, and we'll make our adjustments on the Jeep. Next, we need to press our bushings into our sway bar mounts. So I'm going to grab a little bit of grease and just grease up this inner lip to make it slide in a little bit easier. So I've got some on my finger here. Just going to put a thin coat in there. And then we're just gonna line up our bushings. I've got a rubber mallet, so just tap them in. So take your bushing, start sliding it in, get it started, and then just tap it in with a rubber mallet. Do the same thing over here. And now we're gonna grab our sway bar. On the thicker ends with the splines, we're gonna grease up that whole thicker section, because that's gonna have to slide through our bushings. So take some more grease, lube it up, and do the same thing on the other side. Now next we're gonna install our sway bar mounts. Now on the back one, we've got a hole that we've got to pass through with a 15mm socket and extension to get our bolt into. We've got 2 new bolts for each side included in our kit. So now get your bolt through that hole and then raise your mount up into place and start threading it into your factory threaded hole. And I'm going to grab my second bolt for the other side. And then grab your impact gun, and we're just going to go back and forth on our 2 bolts, tighten this down evenly. And then do the same thing on the other side. So now grab your sway bar, and we're gonna be going through the bushing on one side, and we're gonna get it into the bushing on the other side. You might need a rubber mallet for this to help tap it through, so I've got one on standby. Now once you're in that bushing on the other side, you want to tap this through. You want about 3/4 inch of splines coming through on each side. And just go back and forth, see how you're looking. And then you can grab your tape measure. And we just need to go another 1/8 of an inch. And now we're right on the money. So now we're gonna install our arms onto our sway bar. Now we wanna make sure that we get these in the exact orientation between the driver and the passenger side. We're gonna slide those on, and then we have an Allen bolt as well as a pinch bolt that we're gonna be installing. So I'm going to slide this on about as level as it'll go with our frame. And then we're going to take our washer and our Allen bolt, thread that into the threaded hole on the end of our sway bar, and take a 3/16 Allen wrench to tighten it down. And then once you have that in place, we'll grab our bolt and nut. I'm going to put the bolt down through the top, thread my nut onto the bottom, and then we're going to grab a 14mm swivel socket and wrench to tighten that down. And do that same thing on the other side. So now we need to install our end links. So I'm going to thread these on pretty much as far as they'll go until they bottom out. And then I'm going to come back a little bit, get my lock nut threaded up onto there. You want these facing opposite directions. So now this is a little bit tall, so we're just going to rotate this up and match that. We'll pull the nut off, slide our end link into that arm, and then thread the nut onto the backside. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. And then we're going to get the other side one installed before we come back and tighten all of this down. So now our end link on the other side is a little bit different. So I'm going to get my ball joint up into our arm first. Thread my nut on. And then you can just go ahead and twist your rod until that hole lines up at the bottom. So now take your bolt and washer and put that through the outside of your mount. Take your spacer, you want the thicker side facing away from your end link. And then slide it through your end link. Get the spacer on the other side. Slide your bolt through it. And then you have a washer and a nut that are going on the other side here. Now I'm going to take a 19mm swivel socket and wrench and tighten down the bottom with my end link. Now take a 19mm swivel socket to tighten down your upper ball joint. Now we're going to take a 19mm wrench and 3/4 wrench to tighten down our jam nuts. And then you can repeat the same process for tightening down this style of ball joint as well as your jam nuts on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the RockJock Antirock front sway bar kit with forged arms for your 2018 and newer Jeep Wrangler JL. Thank you for watching, and for all things Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.